before, shows you what happens when you give them all this power. They can use it in all sorts of ways, even maliciously.
Well, I tend to consider this more as another example of Microsoft incompetence and moody Microsoft products. I think Microsoft is well aware that users won't be fooled by what they say anymore, and to think that Microsoft would intentionally go after Chrome as a virus and think that people would buy this and believe it. I think now it's got to a point where the cat's out of the bag and people are aware of the alternatives, and I don't think people would be fooled. I think it would get people's backs up, and like I say, it's another example of Microsoft incompetence in the products that they provide to the end user. Just on the topic of Chrome, interesting alleged stat here. On TechEye, it's being reported that Google's Chrome is about to overtake Firefox in the statistics for the most used browser. I don't know if you have a view on this, but according to the article,
the stock counter, I think, is the source they use for. Because the first thing you always have to check is what is the source. So they put it like it's a very nice headline. It's like me saying like I officially love my dad more than my mom, or something like what's the meaning of that? It's just so. I think the source of this one is looking at things internationally, but I think it weighs it a bit more in favor of the States still. So stock counter, I first saw it about 3 years ago. When you have to look at the breakdown of the populations, like in some of them, they scale the population. They say, well, we take a similar amount of people in different continents, in different places, and among those people, but don't necessarily support all the browser, how should you put it, configurations or sorts. Because in some of them you might need JavaScript to be installed, and some of them you might need to click on an advertisement. So I think some of them, the way they work is they have all these advertising agencies are very, very interested in how you click and how you behave with advertisements. The reasons they want to know that is so that they can pay people fairly based on how many people click on ads and see what people actually like, and then they can try and match this with the profile of a person, saying, well, if you're interested currently in laser shaving or something like that, we'll try to market distinctive. So then they have all these marketing accumulating these massive amounts of clicks and stuff, and then something about the browsers. And I think in some cases this is what they work on. They work on referrals, and surely there is a correlation between people who click on ads and what operating systems and what browsers they use. And even though they will tell you, we've got a sample of about 100 million, users or something, it doesn't tell you necessarily if that's a valid way to sample them. Basically, it doesn't tell you which users they are and if they're actually chosen at random. And in this case, you're talking about the Chrome versus Firefox thing, and I heard, the Microsoft funded and Apple funded source net applications. I think they said Chrome, not Chromium, but Chrome on its own was going past maybe Firefox like about a year ago. So each one of them gives you kind of a different story, but I think that Mozilla has actually lost loads of people, and I think the number of versions they have and the confusion it causes, the incompatibilities with plugins has actually led to them losing quite a few users. So it's possible, but instead of trying to explain this as Google being extremely brilliant, I think there is also a bit of a turmoil now in Mozilla itself, with quite a few people leaving the company. So,
well, I think it's time for the first music break of the night. And Roy, I believe this is your choice. So if you want to introduce this in, we'll start with that.
Yeah, well, this one's called Reality Check. It's by One Below.
I have a request tonight. When you hear this, that is the introduction.
This is how I represent. I rock the mic 110%. It's intimate. I keep the party moving like an immigrant. Binary star, superstar, it's no coincidence. Every verse is intricate. This ain't a circus in a tent. We don't get down like them clowns in the Kents. I'm used to being indigent. Who said it's all about the Benjamins? I want a fortune. I want to make music and hit the lottery. Fortunately, my music is never watery. That's how it gotta be as far as I can see. Maybe you should grab a telescope to see my view is like astronomy. It ain't all about economy, so the fact that all these whack MCs is making G's don't bother me. Honestly, my number one policy is quality. Never sell my soul is my philosophy. High velocity, lyrics like Nostradamus making prophecy. I told you cats a long time ago, it ain't no stopping me. I bomb your set, that's not a threat, it's a promise. Got everybody riding on my wagon like the Amish. But still I never claim to be a big rap star, cause no matter who you are, it's still Allah who Akbar. Better believe this, most rappers can't achieve this. I'm bad to the bone, but x-rays can't even see this. See, I'm strategic, I let your money talk bullshit. Walk while I keep it rolling like paraplegics. Whoever's on the microphone, let it be known, you in danger. I got next like the Boston Strangler. You ain't never heard an MC speak like this. And Rodney King ain't never felt the beat like this.
That is the main theme. I'm gonna do something else.
Get a grip on yourself, cause you ain't gripping minds. Life and times idolized, rap guys out of line, careers I finalize. Collide with this serenade cyanide you've applied for suicide. The thing that makes killers hide, hang them high by their gold link necktie, and drain them dry into temper style. Now you ain't Kai, so you ain't that high. Wanna be aeronautic, then get swatted for acting fly. Masterminds, crafty rhymes, ill went from drafty lines. They chill spines like the Alpines, running up on Sanam turbines. A close encounter of the worst kind. Go ask some cats and heard I'm lyrical turpentine. Who wanna taste mine? I carry hell on the waistline. God's give the baseline, so let the phlegm fly. I surmise 7-5 through the MI. When I forcefully Jedi in the bull's eye, red eye, heads fly, bad eye, sharp shoot, dead eye, snooze, proof, fed by Mary Lou, flipping eye, paper punk, ripping eye, stomping eye, simplify, represent, temper eye, signify, walking rhyme, ain't nothing similar. Or Gemini, we're in this perimeter, Gemini, cats be cut dry, I'm a wild wet guy. I be raining precipitation till it's 1 inch from neck high. Rest fly kids, mid sky, without an alibi. Who said you rap tight? You come and rapper by a slice of this rap, scalpel guys, quick as apple pie. I'm learned in all schools of thought and shit you babble by. Conceptual, intellectual, fox slide. Silla oxide, rhymes flow like a rock slide. You must have forgot I slap your ass, knock, need and cockeyed, bruised, battered, broken up, open, cut, dipped in peroxide. Death to the pot fly.
Usually I don't do request numbers, unless of course I have been asked to do so.
Okay, thanks for sticking with us. And now we're going to move on to our second part of topics, second section of topics, I beg your pardon. And it's going to be Microsoft's Samsung deal, I believe, Roy.
Well, what do you know about it so far, and what are your thoughts about it? It's just, I mean, I don't know so much about it. I don't think anybody knows so much about it, but maybe, I recall you writing about, after the HTC deal, you wrote some thoughts about, well, because you bought a phone from...
Yes. I hasten to add, prior to the deal being signed, you can check my blog stats and my blog postings for that. So I actually got in just before the deal was signed with my HTC. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a topic we've covered many times before, and like we said previously, just before the music track, I think it's an admission of defeat by Microsoft, where it's creating these deals. If Microsoft was in fact creating the products that people wanted to buy, and Microsoft was the number one vendor of technology, software, etc., then I think it wouldn't need to do this. But the fact that it is, and I wrote an article about a year ago, I think, with putting the analogy that they were like a dog sitting under the table waiting for an owner to throw a few scraps on the floor, and I think that's what Microsoft's doing now. I think it's now taking the scraps off the table from its competitors that are producing the products that people want to buy. It's getting increasingly more difficult to speak on Microsoft products, I've noticed, certainly on this show and on the site, and to have a look at and to give my opinions, because it's all been said before. Nothing seems to be creating any buzz. And I don't know how you feel, Roy, but it's really mainly Microsoft actions that are causing more interest.
Yeah, in 2000, I think I explained this before. Back in 2007, 8 or so, it was very obvious that Microsoft still had like quite a bit of